Hey the berries, welcome to the first episode of a little mini series. So if you guys are unaware, on Discord I tried to get some participants for basically a coaching mini series. The original plan was to have one person, make them the center of the attention for the month, and then start off with a coaching session, see how they do throughout the week, and then revisit them again with another coaching session, and then kind of rinse and repeat until the end of the month. So about a 30-day period of doing coaching and intense training. I didn't know how many people would actually take part in the coaching series. We ended up having about 60 applicants to go through. So what I've decided to do is that we've now had a short list of 4 people, and we're going to be trying following them as much as possible over the next 30 days. The main reason why I've chosen 4 people is because, say for example, I choose one person and they decide to drop out or something, happens in real life or whatever, then the series would just kind of like cut off and end. And also if like people don't take it too seriously and things like that and like mess around, then then it's kind of an awkward series to end off. So 4 people, so hopefully someone will make it at the end. So yeah, it was quite a lot of competition. There were a lot of good applications as well, and yeah, we'll see how the coaching series does. And if you guys enjoy it, then we'll make sure to do more episodes in the future. But first, we're going to be looking at the first person in this series, which is Belle. I'm going to put her on stream. She actually has her camera ready for us. So let me just. Ta-da! Hello, Belle. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello. Yes, I can hear you for sure. It's weird to see myself on the second
Yeah,
screen.
you're on the big screen.
Yes, don't notice all my pimples. They're very beautiful. These 1080p cams really don't leave
Yeah,
anything
I
out.
know exactly. Welcome to the streaming world, which I know that you're very familiar with. Uh,
Yes, berries and pandas, all of them. Ah, hi.
so what made you want to join up into this coaching kind of like, what made you want to even apply in the first place?
So this is the thing. Until I stumbled upon your videos, and I told you this before, I didn't feel any connection to League. And once I started practicing more and more the support role, I noticed that watching people that are master, challenger, everything play gave me a bit more of map awareness and overall macro, but I feel that I'm constantly lacking in ways to make my presence more known. And I think that I'm doing probably very basic mistakes. So I'm hoping to like make myself a more uniform kind of support. And that's why I signed up for it.
So for people that don't know, what rank are you in League at the moment?
Right now, I am Silver 2 at 52 LP, if I'm not mistaken.
And what champions do you like playing?
I am definitely into doing OTPs. I used to play a lot of Soraka in Season 10, but now I'm doing mostly Yuumi and Zyra. So enchanters and mages.
Right. And I think that's quite common, I think, with a lot of people. I think there's one other person in the shortlist of 4 that likes playing tanks only, which is kind of rare, I think, particularly in the bronze, silver kind of area.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people come over, not necessarily in your case, you can feel like you can chime in here a little bit, but a lot of people come over from MMOs and kind of
Yes,
want to
yes,
heal and stuff like that, and then they realize
exactly.
it's not all about healing necessarily. So yeah, that's the main thing I've noticed a lot when doing coaching sessions. It's a lot of mages
Yes.
and enchanters coming across. So yeah.
Exactly, yes. It makes perfect sense too, because like I said when we first spoke, like Soraka for me was the epitome of a MMO healer, and that's what drew me to actually trying to make a difference in that aspect, just the healing aspect, which now with the Grievous Wound meta became more complicated, and I feel that there are other champions that do healing better than Soraka without that amount of exposition like Yuumi.
Mm-hmm. So say we do about 4 to 5 coaching sessions throughout this series, where would you kind of like hope to be by the end of it?
So my main goal that I feel most people can relate to is I want the Victoria skin. So I want to cross over the threshold to gold for sure. But my goal this season was definitely to make it to gold 1 or plat 4, just to prove that I had, even with my difficulties with my arthritis and mechanical problems, that I could actually be a platform support.
So talking about, I wasn't gonna necessarily bring it up, but you brought it up anyway. Your arthritis. Did you show everyone your? You showed me the other day, didn't you? So
Yes, yes. So I have 2 prosthetic wrists. I think you guys can see the scars. So I'm a little bit bionic. So I'll install Wi-Fi soon, hopefully. But for now, it just makes my walking animations a little bit wonky. So it's easy to see on the games. My positioning isn't always the best, but that's mostly because my reaction time with the wrist isn't the best as well. So let's say I'm dealing with that handicap, but I also kind of try to adapt to it. So I feel I can do good despite having the slight setback mechanically.
You made a slight pun there as well, handicap. Yeah, I see you did that. So yeah, the main reason why I had to kind of like talk to you before we even did this interview is to check up on the arthritis. So just to confirm, you're not going to have, hopefully,
No.
if there is any medical issue that you have like during this, do let me know.
I will. I'm in remission for the last year, thankfully, so it should not be, a problem. So yeah, it's not an excuse I'm getting used. Oh no, my arthritis, I'm minting. Oh, I can't catch up. Oh no, my ult.
So yeah, my main concern was obviously, the medical impact, like in terms of it hurting or obviously, like putting it at risk or anything like that. So
I appreciate the concern. I feel like it's important to ask. You obviously feel a little bit more heard when people do ask, but I appreciate it. I'm currently in remission, so I won't use that excuse. It's just a little wonky on the walking, but it'll be good. All the mistakes are mine, and I own up to them.
Well, don't worry. I'll be pointing out some for sure. So shortly after this, we're going to be looking at one of your games. I did ask you to play a couple of games over this weekend. Yeah. I'm not sure how they went. I haven't checked your profile, so don't spoil. No crazy spoilers at the moment.
All right. No.
We'll look at the profile. And we'll start you off as well and putting you hopefully on the right track for the first week.
Yeah.
Is there any questions you had going into before we jump into a session?
It's not so much a question. It's more of the same that I've already said. I'm feeling a great sense of frustration in being unable to carry the team, not carrying the literal sense of carrying, but bringing enough impact to the game to change the outcome. And I feel like it's been a lot of team differences, not so much the compositions. We're having good comps, in my opinion. Obviously, you can check that. But I feel the mentals go boom early on, and it's hard to break my teammates from that boom, and it makes the whole game very, very hard to do.
Okay, so yeah, we'll definitely have a look at that. As you just said, it's going to be difficult for you to, as a support anyway, to like 1v9.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be kind of impossible to get into that mindset necessarily anyway. Even if you were to play champions like Brand or Zyra, or maybe even the Lux or Zyra Support, you're going to have a tough time trying to 1v9 anyway. So I think the main thing is that you're just going to do, you're going to have to just enable your team in order to basically carry. So yeah, that's like the main thing to kind of look out for there.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I'm looking forward to jumping into the first game and seeing how you do, and let's jump into the first game. Okay.
Awesome.
All right, I'll have a look. All right. Okay, so let's have a look at your profile. Okay, good. Lots of losses. I like it. That's good. That makes my job easier if it's losses.
Good. I knew you were gonna appreciate some good old inting, but I promise it wasn't all me. I'll share the,
Okay, so we've got rank flex here, some Sudoku, Yumi and Zyra. One thing I will probably comment on, at least at this moment in time, playing Yumi at this ELO will be difficult because you will be relying on your team a lot, particularly your AD carry. So I would maybe advise at this moment in time, if you can avoid playing Yumi, or at least play fewer games with her. Like if you have like an Ezreal, maybe is there an Ezreal here? No, it's a
It
Kog'Maw.
was mostly for the Kog'Maw and the Master Yi potential, but the Kog'Maw walked into the bot lane at 2 minutes, stood by the tower, and we died. And then
Okay.
he did it again, so we gave up on him.
Yeah. So yeah.
And we had a Kayn mid laner that also tossed that out.
Yeah. So I mean, just I think anyway. I think at silver below, I think for now avoid Yumi. If you end up getting to gold plus, like higher in gold, for example, then I would say Yumi option becomes open to you more.
Okay, noted.
So if you do enjoy playing Yumi, try and push up a little bit further up with some of the other champions that you're able to play
Will do.
first. Because that's the best case. I mean, like looking at, for example, this team, I know Lulu's banned here. Like Lulu would be the best pick with a Kog'Maw anyway in general. But you do have some nice champions here that you would be able to like attach to, like the Yi and the Kayn is quite nice. It's a solo lane Kayn, which is kind of weird. But you do have some nice champions there overall for Yumi to link up with. It's just that like if your AD carry was potentially better, then you would have a much easier time getting through out of the laning phase at least anyway. So, but let's have a look at one of these Zyra games. So we have a 5-7. A 1-7. I'm noticing a theme here, always Leandries. I'm just going to check these team compositions that you've been playing against for Leandries.
First?
Okay, yeah, Leandries against this team is okay. Mordekai's a high health. You got a tank target there. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Leandries is this one into... Yeah, Yorick, Galio, Kassadin kind of has highish base HP. Yeah, okay, that's fine. There's no real squishy target for Ludens there. Okay, this type of team, I would probably pick up a Ludens just because their team is just generally more squishier.
True. I was mostly concerned about the Xin, but it was probably me being overzealous. In the end, the Xin was not the problem. Yeah, this was the game I did 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, my only thing that I'm looking at here is that you're not just buying like Leandries like every single game. Because I wouldn't want you to get into that mindset. So
my mindset is usually that I see a tank and then I pick the Leandries for it. I know I pick Zyra against tanks mostly.
So yeah, this game against is a normal draft, but it's only from a few days ago. This game definitely is a Ludens game. The only real high health target there is Garen. Everyone else on that team is particularly squishy. So try not to get caught up in picking up the Leandries every single game. It is a decent item on Zyra, but if you're up against a lot of squishies, do opt into that Luden still. Okay, right, let's have a look at... I mean, all these games have good length, which is helpful. Let's do this middle one, I think. This one with the exhaust as well, which I'm kind of curious with, because I don't think I've ever run exhaust with Zyra before. I'm assuming there was some assassins
that we could have some potential, yeah, to just slow them down a little bit, just for those last hits.
Alright, let's have a look. If the client wants to load, there we go. Okay. You can see the game on the stream, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alright, so you are blue side. Okay. Alright, let's move this on a little bit. Nearer the time here, you want to be moving towards your buff so you can get seeds down.
Alright, I always messed that up.
If you can get one plant down here, that would be good. Just with your passive, just at least one, which you end up getting. That's nice. Just Zac unfortunately doesn't let the red buff tank it, so he takes a lot of damage. He could have let the buff tank it. Okay, so we're playing against a Jhin Galio. Kind of unusual composition, but you should be relatively safe at poking this. The only thing you would maybe have to be slightly concerned for is like a Galio flash taunt.
Yes.
I think other than that, I think you're kind of safe just to kind of harass us. There's not too much you can do here. Level 1. You guys are in a decent position. I mean, even though you're not getting level 2 first, you're in a safe spot on the lane anyway, so they can't do much. So you basically just want to set up these minions for Ezreal to be able to last hit under the turret. Okay, so you take E level 2, that's fine. Yeah, I wouldn't have used the root there. Just try not to throw those out.
Be more conscious about them.
Yeah, you don't want to like have it on cooldown necessarily, but like it's also you don't want to do max range ones out as well. That's why we kind of opted into Arcane Comet when we play Zyra. Like these, yeah. Especially like for example when Zack's coming down here and ready for a gank, your E's now on cooldown. Like if you just held off that, you could even go into a situation here where you could like nudge up forward positionally wise a little bit and see if like the Galio would commit to that.
All right. Yes.
So like when you can see the Zack's coming down at this point here, I would be looking to not make it like super obvious. You don't want to like go make it like, you know, send alarm bells going that they're getting ganked straight away.
Yeah.
But just like nudge forward up a little bit, maybe match like at least your caster minions here.
True. Yeah.
Because like now you're kind of like on the complete opposite side to the Galio. And like even if you were going to do a route here anyway, for some reason, that the Jhin would be the better pick here as well because he's much nearer to you as well. But in general, like when the jungler's coming down here anyway, you kind of just you don't want to use your E too early.
True. True.
The enemy team does have a ward in this brush anyway, but they're really slow to react anyway. So they even see that the Zack's coming down anyway. So like here, for example, having your E would be really, really good.
True.
I think you want to try and get some more auto hits in here if possible. You're not really seeing any auto hits. That's the first one. Decent route there. Okay. So you can squeeze out some more DPS in these little fights. So one thing we've already mentioned is already the E. But you want to try in these early stages of the game. Auto hits are worth a lot. So you do an auto hit on the Galio here because you're taunted, so that's going to happen anyway. But here, like you want to practice walking back auto, and as like the auto attack animations winding, like reloading, so to speak, then you want to like then you want to auto hit again. It's like auto hit moving in between.
Some more coin too. Yeah, that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, you just want to like scratch at any DPS because you know in some cases some people get away on just like a tiny bit of health anyway. And auto hits, even on a mage, is an extra like 50 damage per hit, which is kind of like a tick of ignite. So, okay, so yeah, you have two options here. So you could shove in this in and get a reset in. Particularly with your guys' health, that would be an option. It wouldn't be the fastest push in though. The other option here is what you guys are doing here is freezing. I think it's kind of like how you feel like it in the game.
Pretty much,
like if you have cookies, for example, which I didn't check your runes yet, but
no, didn't have cookies.
So cookies. So yeah, you went. Oh, you've got an electrocute this game. You don't have Arcane Comet. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to do something different because I felt like it wasn't working so well with Comet, but it's probably just me. So I figured I'd try something different, a bit more aggressive.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get you on a different Zyra build with the Comet again, and then with the cookies, it would give you more sustain in the lane. I think overall Comet is more consistent than Electrocute. And there's a lot of passive seeds that have managed to stack up in that little alleyway there. It's kind of unlucky, actually.
I just wanted them to back them up a little bit. What threw me off this game overall was how mobile the Galio ended up being. Like, you know this, but when you're facing him in lane, it becomes a different reality. So he would move up every time I cast my E, which is very smart on him. And then this game, it was just literally a game of chicken. I would toss my E, he would escape my E, and it was back and forth.
So yeah, this is why like kind of like Arcane Comet, it would be quite nice because you would just kind of just want to do max range QW. And then your partner will just proc the Comet as well. You'll get a mana flow band stack from that too, and a little bit of gold. Like that, for example. Like that was good. You didn't just throw out your E, you did your QW combo. And you get a little of extra gold and resources off the Galio. I mean, that's all you should be doing in this lane. The only time you want to use E is if like someone grossly mispositions, or if you're responding to them engaging on you, or if your jungler is there. So yeah, you get this is better from you, like just the QW attempts at least anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you guys haven't recalled yet. You're going to be looking for that soon at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's after this, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah, so here, now you have your E ready. It's a shame it does miss.
Uh,
Okay, I'm just going to have a look and see if you had W plants ready. Yeah, one thing I'll say is try and have like one W ready at all times. So when you're doing like the QW harassment, it's just like you're using it and then you have one seed ready or about to be ready at least anyway, so that when a situation does like this arise, you can do a slowing plant to counter the engage, which I think, yeah, you don't quite have one. It's still 2 seconds on cooldown. So now you've used your E, but you weren't able to root, which could have made a big difference here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, just try and make sure you have one seed in the bank if possible. Yes, okay, wow, he missed, okay.
I had to walk back with him to
yeah,
make
that's
sure.
this good respect. This is fine. Yeah, for sure. This is the right safe move for sure. Right, what do you buy? You buy Tutu boots, that's fine. Yep, that's fine. I like Tutu boots first buy.
It gives you that extra penetration, and early on that makes a big difference.
Extra movement speed as well. Okay, so yeah, you just want to keep looking for QW harassment on whoever. Yeah, you use 2 seeds there. You just want to use 1. Because now you won't, like,
right,
if they
yeah.
engage in there, now you won't have a slowing plant. That's the risk you run.
Yeah, that's one of my crutches. I usually don't spam it once, I spam it twice, and it's one of the habits I'm trying to break from.
Like, that was an okay defensive E. Like, you didn't know if they were necessarily going to engage on you guys there because you were overextended a little bit in the river.
Exactly. The Galio is the biggest threat, so if I delayed the Jhin a little bit, maybe he got discouraged.
Okay, so fuller engage here. You have summoners ready. Okay, I'm going to watch this one back just to see if there's anything here you could add on your part. I think it's a nice play from the enemy team.
Yes.
I think there was a warning ping coming down anyway. These are actually, this is enemy team pings. Okay, so yeah, flash forward. You try to root it. It's a good Jhin W as well. There was probably a split second where you could have flashed there, but I think he would have died anyway, actually.
I saw the Cassidon on the corner of my eye just as I got off, and I said it's not worth me using flash.
Yeah. It's just a good play from them, for sure. I mean, you could have maybe have, like, flashed to respect the Galio's flash before that, but I think, I think that would be, like, too much for me to expect you to do, I think.
Yeah, it's those split-second decisions. Yeah, we had to try to intervene here, but it didn't go so well. It wasn't worth us going in blind.
Yeah, one thing I'd say is if you're worried about checking a bush like this, do your W first. Rather than just face checking this.
I'm not sure if I did this game, but it's something I've been trying to do. I think I did it more in the last game. We had a lot more sneaky guys.
That's good. You're pushing in for the S. Just maybe a little bit urgency in this, but like this needs to be pushed in again because this is now gonna sit here. If I were you, and because you have vision in the river anyway, if theirs didn't want this wave, I would have pushed this in for him. On Zyra, so I would have just done, like, you know, what are you maxing here, by the way? So you are maxing E with the electrocute build. Okay.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be nice to stop the Galio as many times as I could.
I think the route here, there isn't really like an absolute correct like formula here. When the Galio goes in, he's like done everything anyway, and he should be already on top of your face, so like increased root duration isn't really going to impact that too much. But, you know, if you make a pick, you know, you could always make something from that. But yeah, we'll talk about build order and runes after this. But yeah, I would personally shove this in because this is going to be frozen here. Potentially enemy team could freeze this, so I wouldn't let that be an option. So it'd be quick EQ, you know, and get the 2 plants in, and then just try and back off as quickly as possible. So I can do that pretty effectively.
It's true. Yeah, they're good. I think they freeze it. Even.
Nope.
No, they actually clear it.
They push it back, so it ends up being not that bad for you guys, but maybe want to get into the habit of that. If you know you're safe to push in, then do so. Okay, so Zach's already engaged. He's got passive ready. Okay, yeah, so here, I wouldn't engage with ulti at all.
Oh, okay.
I know you're already, like, maybe panicking about the situation already.
Yeah, I thought he was going to die right there.
So yeah, I would always try and do, at the start of a fight, at the start of a team fight, you generally always want to do E and then 2 slowing plants as quickly as possible.
Which helps land the ZR.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think here, you could even, honestly, if you really felt comfortable doing it, you could probably flash on the Jhin here.
Yep.
You could do like flash, E, double W, so two slowing plants, then ult, whack down your
around there,
ignite
yes.
if you had an ignite as well, and then Ezreal would have time to ulti over here as well. He can still arc and shift, and he will then be able to follow up this up a bit more.
Yeah, true.
So just by popping your ulti, you were not enabling anything. Notice you put 2 seeds down here, so you end up doing a Q. I didn't see the Q on that animation, because there's too much going on, but yeah, you always in a team fight want to try and prioritize doing slowing plants more than anything. So you're trying to defend the Zach Bobs. This is decent.
Yep.
I wouldn't be too scared though. I wouldn't back off too much. Remember, we can still get some auto hits off here.
And I missed again. All my spells missed this game. It was so unfortunate.
Still think you could look for some auto hits there though. I think you could have maybe got the Galio down to really low health here. Alright, I'm gonna have a look. Like soon though, auto hits is gonna be like really difficult for you to do, because like the damage from the autos will offset anything and put you in way too risk anyway. But like at these early stages, like laning phases, like auto hits are worth a lot. So you also hit a minion there. You're moving forward, but we're not auto hitting. Okay, so you do 1 auto hit and then back off. Do 2 auto hits.
My concern there was that the Ezreal was going to stay back to finish his farm, let's say. And because I already know that it was me versus those 2, and those 2 were completely going to destroy us, yeah, I didn't want to give him that satisfaction.
Okay, so I think you could have got 6 auto hits off here. Probably wouldn't have changed too much, but I want you to get in the habit of like auto hitting more often. You said your concern was this wave, but I think obviously the priority here is trying to see if you can keep the Zac going, which unfortunately you can't. And Ez kind of misplays a little bit. I think here you're probably worried that this Ez is going to die, so you kind of like, you're in the mindset of looking like you may be ditching him. I think with like the resources that you have versus them, like if you know it's only going to be at least 2 people, and even in a 1v2, like Galio's got like very little HP, Jhin has no mana. I don't see what they can actually do against you, even in a 1v2 situation, once your E's back up. So I would be posturing a little bit more here. You can kind of like, you should be able to bully them here if they stay, and just let like the Ez like recover from the back. I would be taking a more forward position here. I mean, meanwhile this top, the situation is absolutely dire, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, I definitely feel like you can try and keep them here as long as possible, since you are technically like stronger than both of them. Like even here, like when the game is looking like really bleak, when you've already like lost 2 turrets, I think you're gonna have to take a little bit of extra risk. Like even here, like if you notice that they don't actually finish, like if they don't actually recall, like you see Jhin has gone off here, you could come in around this way and gank your own lane rather than just.
Yeah, I was trying to read the situation, and I will confess, like after the early engages, I got swept a little bit by fear. The like, I can't feed this lane, and then I started playing extra passive.
Okay.
and try to save resources like, oh, I'm going to save my exhaust, I'm going to save my E and my R. But then I end up doing the same thing that, you know, people who are afraid do, which is use them in panic. And that's never a good mental.
Yeah, I think you should be in the mindset of that you're trying to bully them here. I think I would have attempted to try and gank my own lane. Especially when like top is looking so bad, you kind of need to get a lead in the bot lane at this stage now. Especially against like a Cassidy as well, it's like a ticking time bomb. Yeah, LeBlanc doesn't beat the Cassidy in a 1v1 matchup either, so yeah, your lane is like the only lane now that can kind of carry this game, unfortunately. So you're gonna have to take like a couple more risks. Like even here again, S was doing like another bad recall. I'd push this wave in.
Yeah, I walked towards him just to make sure like he was
Nocturne.
okay, and then I went away.
Yeah, and then I would push this lane as quickly as possible. Like, even if they don't freeze this is like a delayed crash, so... Like, if, say, you know, someone was coming down to farm off this, then they would get a nice, healthy chunk of gold here. But you could have denied, like, a lot of that. So... And also, you're getting gold for yourself.
True. It's these little things that I hope can make me more consistent, because all of what you're saying amounts to a tremendous amount of gold, and it can make all the difference in team fights if I get more gold early.
I'm kind of curious how this ends up being a 30-minute game, because from my point of view, you guys are in a lot of trouble
It was about
already.
now that the Zac started flaming the team. We had a Galio. We had the Darius. Darius was doing his best, and he ends up actually cleaning up a little bit later into the game, so he was our hope. But we couldn't do anything with that, let's say, small lead or small hope, and I feel that was the sad part about it. At around 25 minutes, I think it was just Zac and LeBlanc flaming each other, and then Darius joining in, and here I am watching. The Ezreal did his best, didn't flame, so kudos to him.
I think you played that situation decently. You landed a decent route to kind of disengage. Yeah, I think not respecting them after you had lost the team fight there was a bit...
Yeah, no, I should have backed up.
Yeah. I think you probably got kind of like misled because Ezreal's quite high up here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you guys are just...
It's also a little bit of silver hubris. Sometimes you think you're safer than you actually are, but you should know better that you can't face check the Cassidy.
Okay, so you're in a lost chapter right now. Yeah, this game is going to be an uphill struggle. I think I might just go dip into another game of yours on the match history, because I don't see...
The last game I did before we met up was, I would say, one of my best Zyra games. It was a loss mostly because at the time we were running, they successfully aced the team, and at 50-second comeback, it became a loss instantaneously. But we had a Jhin that was monstrous, and our bot lane went very, very well.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm done with looking at this game, but yeah, like, for example here, the only thing I've got to say again is try and... You did your ult again, but you've also got Q plants, so you want to make sure in a team fight that you do E.
Right, so switch it around for sure.
So just make sure you always prioritize, in team fights, always prioritize your E.
And this is how I die again.
Yeah, I think this one's just brutal. Let's just dip into another game. I think at least the theme from that one is don't use your E to randomly in the laning phase. Try and use it only to determine that you caught someone off in a really bad position, or you're using it to help set up for whether it's a skill shot off your AD carry or for your jungler.
For sure.
Yeah,
I've written this down.
Yeah, and also in team fights, always prioritize your E first. So E, W, ulti, then Q. And then just like look for auto hits while you're waiting for your spells to come back up. So once you've done your abilities, you've got like this, like, you know, particularly early in the game, you got like a time window where all your abilities are on cooldown. There's like not much. So just focus on it. Let's just focus a lot on the positioning and just ask like if you can auto hit safely here. Yeah. Right, so
Thank you.
This game, I will probably see the same mistakes into this one as well. I will be very surprised if you suddenly
you should see less of them because I got a bit cockier, and the same way that it works against you, sometimes it works in your favor as a boost of confidence when your lane's doing well.
Well, the things that you're kind of doing are kind of like bad habits, at least in any phase. So I'm expecting to see you ulti without using E first and stuff like this as well.
Oh, for sure. I wouldn't bet against that.
So red side this time. So it's you're with a Jhin, which is a nice little setup. You're doing electrocute again with the exhaust. Okay. I think when you're playing Zyra, I think you have to do ignite. I don't think you can get away with it. I know they've got like a Jax and things, but like you're playing a champion that basically has to try and get kills in lane. So going exhaust, you kind of already conceded.
Oh, damn. I thought it was clever because of the Jin's fourth shot kind of possibilities. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to keep this. I'm really sneaky.
I mean, against the Jhin, I get that theory. And this team here, you're with a Jhin. You're up against an Ezreal and Senna, so there's nothing really to exhaust properly there that much really anyway. Later on in the game, like exhaust would be fairly useful against like a Jax or a Xin, but hopefully at that time you're already like doing pretty well for yourself anyway. So that's why you take the ignite. Also, they got a decent amount of healing-ish anyway here with the Senna Qs and stuff anyway. So
I will definitely write this down.
because the thing is as well with ignite, it's not just the damage from the debuff, but it's also if you manage to get it down before they use summoner heal, then you're halving the effect of that the healing through anyway. So technically you're doing more damage anyway. And if like the Ezreal's getting if the Ezreal's getting like Conqueror stacks as well, then he's healing more. Or if he's getting a heal from a Senna during that time. So the earlier you get that ignite down, the better generally.
Yeah. I didn't think of it that way. That's actually makes perfect sense.
Okay, yeah, so here you just want to be posturing. You have Q level 1, which is good. Yeah, just try and... It's a bit difficult against double poke. This is basically double poke v double poke. I would say to try and help like get level 2 as quickly as possible, like auto hit these melee minions, which you are kind of doing. Just good to see.
I wanted to walk away from that and walk straight towards it. Oh, like a firefly.
Okay, so now you have your E. Yeah, you're doing the exact same thing as before, just throwing out your E. So yeah, I'd rather you just try and look for Q harassment and things like that. Or if they're in a particular bad position, then you could maybe look for an E. Especially against like a team like this where it's like, okay, if you land your E, if you're the first person to like land your like crowd control ability, their counterplay to that isn't really there. But like if you're up against like a Leona, for example, you E, then she knows your roots and cooldowns. She can just engage and you're not going to be able to peel off your AD carry.
Yes. This happened to me a lot of times. Yeah, I can see it all now. It stacks up.
You can E first into double poke like this, but I wouldn't do it like max range, kind of like the odds of you landing this are so incredibly low anyway. They would have to like misclick or just be kind of AFK. So just be careful on that.
Definitely.
So here you're kind of waiting for level 3 because
I need to position the plants, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. So you can't really get... It's really hard for you to generate any gold without the W.
Through my work, you shall transcend.
Okay, and this positioning is worrying me a little bit. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me that you get W'd there. Decent clip onto the center there, though, but now that's put you in a really awkward position because... You've now you're away from the minion wave against someone like an Ezreal. So you got nothing.
Yeah, the gap closes really fast.
So yeah, you have nothing that's blocking the Ezreal's Q, his mystic shots at you. So like here right now, when you get rooted, Ezreal's got easy access to you, basically. So although you do catch out the Senna, it's literally which AD carry can do the most amount of damage.
Jhin ended up saving my life. He was a very good player.
So yeah, the Jhin had to kind of like back you up there, but the downside is for you is that Senna can just sustain up a little bit more now at this point. Like
exactly, yes.
Any damage that sticks onto you sticks, whereas with Senna it's not as bad. So she'll eventually get up to close to 4 HP, whereas you're kind of now stuck with this, especially now you haven't, because you haven't got cookies. You now haven't got the sustain to look to stay. That's a good Q. I like that Q. Yeah, and now you reverse. This is same thing happened in the last game. How the first like 2 or 3 E's you did were kind of like just kind of random, just like E's just to test out, and then you get kind of like poked down a bit. And then you're doing what you should be doing in the first place anyway, which is the QW poke.
Yes. Showing up to lane, basically.
Yeah, another E puts you in a bad position there. But, I mean, Jhin hasn't got anything off to finish that off. Yeah, it's looking pretty iffy for you.
Yeah, I think I back up here. I recognize I just can't do this. I'll probably end it off.
Yeah, I can see why. This puts Jhin in a really difficult position here, though.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of oof. I can see why you recalled. Luckily, they're not punishing the Jhin as much, but I don't really have the right answer for you there. I think recalling here is fine. Let's get back into lane as quickly as possible. What do you buy? Boots. Control word.
I didn't have enough coins, so I figured
so-
control would be good.
Okay, so what I'd say is probably refillable would be better here, and you would just you wouldn't have a control word, but because you're against double poke in particular, you're gonna always just gonna be chugging through health potions anyway. So I'd say like, I know like the support mentality is like control ward's gotta have vision like perma and like,
Yes.
but the problem is that it's also taxing you as well. And I don't think you have to be overly worried about being ganked, since both of you have flash and stuff like that anyway.
True.
So
I didn't even think about that.
I think
Yes.
having the increased like health sustain for the entirety of the laning phase basically is fine not to have a control word. Plus, you know, the enemy team hasn't gone back, they haven't got oracles, they're not clearing out wards anyway. So generally you shouldn't be too urgent for you to necessarily have to feel like you have to get a control word on your first buy. Like if you had the spare change after the refillable, let's say if you had refillable and enough gold for a control word after that, then I would probably pick one up. But I'd make sure you get that refillable in against a lane like this.
No, it makes perfect sense. Yes. Yes, with the flashes up and all of that. Yeah. Thank you. I never thought about that, or how the impact of not having cookies could actually make the whole difference in the game.
Okay, and also what I'll say at this point, I want to see you, because you actually had to recall. The enemy bot lane hasn't had to recall. Also, their health, Jhin has done a really good job holding off 1v2. You want to make sure that these guys don't recall for as long as possible. I'm not necessarily like going for a kill and risking something silly under the turret, but you want to make sure that these guys don't recall. Like the longer the time that it takes for Ezreal to complete to get his tier and then complete that's going to help you guys a lot. Also, Senna's going to find it really difficult to get soul stacks if she is at this health as well. So yeah, I mean, at this point she's got very little mana as well, so she'd only be able to do like 1 or 2 more keys during this laning phase. So that's basically it from her. So you just want to make sure you keep them in the lane. That's what I'm looking for here at the moment.
They were in a very delicious position when I got there.
So you did the right thing there as well. You put a ward down straight when you came back into lane. Nice defensive ward. Nice play here. Good pick. Brilliant. And then I would be kind of looking towards like this Ezreal to try. You have a W point here from the kill on Senna. So I'd be making sure to just make like this Ezreal's life like super annoying. I would like edge over here, like even if it means delaying his recall by 2 or 3 seconds. Like this is what Jin's trying to do. Okay, he does it anyway, right? Yeah. So yeah,
this Jin was the Smurf of our team for sure.
Okay, so at this point, you want this Jin to recall as quickly as possible. You don't want to overstay in the laning phase either, because if you get too greedy for turret plates, it means that Jhin can't recall, because then it will be a bad recall.
Yes.
So if he keeps like hitting down his turret, all of your minions will die, and then it will, like, lane will reset, but like he won't have the resources to stay.
Pretty much. I think we back up. We didn't even notice Zinzao was there until he was
perfect
really upon
recall from the Jhin. And then if you don't feel like you want to buy at this point, you could opt into looking for a control ward if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You're
Just wanted to
on
make sure
400 gold. So yeah, you could maybe buy an
had a little
amplifying
bit of
tome or
vision.
something. But yeah, you could do this as well. Like if you are
I
freed
wasn't
up
sure
like
if I had
this.
to intervene or anything like that. So I just literally danced a little bit, dropped my control word, and decided it was fine. I gotta go home.
Yeah, I think at this point here, if I notice that they have done Scuttle, like you're not going to be able to roam up to mid anyway. And also because of this bar, you see how like it just got done?
Mm-hmm. True, true.
You know that Zin's just done this, right? So then at this point, I would actually be worried that there's a Zin here, just from this knowledge here, because he didn't come down here. So he must be in this top half here. So I'd be backing, like letting like my team know that Zin would be in this area, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Perfectly.
just do the back pings here, and then from here I would just recall, because there's nothing else you can do here. Like even if Sin was doing the dragon, you wouldn't be able to like necessarily stop that apart from like a big face check. And then it's like it's Bitcoin flip, mid situation, Viz could come down and things like that, so it'd get messy really quickly.
Yeah, it could have gotten
you
really
could maybe
bad,
do
yes.
like one thing you could do.
When do berries go bad? Am I a moldy berry yet? Lol.
Thank you, Evie. Thank you for the sub. One thing I would do is maybe you could, if you were concerned that Zin was doing the dragon, just do a QW over the wall here.
Oh, right. Yes. That's a good way to check it. Yeah.
And then just
for sure.
Just you basically, I would just recall here and just try and spend whatever money that in your pocket, and then you have a similar recall timing to the Jin as well.
Sure.
So you could have you could do like the control that we talked about, or we could, if you had enough gold, you could maybe go into amplifying tome, or you could do like the mana crystal with a control ward, like something like that. I know it's not much, but it's like something.
Yeah, well, every second counts in the game, and
yeah, because
I
like
feel
here,
really silly when I'm like, I'm unsure, because I think the Shiv had said she wanted to do Drake. And I thought, all right, she's gonna come down, but instead she decided to do her camps, which is valid. I misread the situation. I thought maybe she was saying Drake as in war Drake instead of, oh, we're doing Drake. So I ended up just dancing a lot.
Yeah, so you end up wasting a lot of time. One thing I'd say is like it would be iffy for Shyvana to do Drake at this point, because you just killed their bot lane and they have items and they've already like respawned and coming out of lane quicker, whereas your Jin's just reset. So like if you were to do dragon, if Shyvana were to walk from here to dragon, by the time she does that, their bot lane would be like nearly out here to contest this anyway, and Jin would probably be where the Shyvana is right now.
Alright.
So yeah, you would basically be putting your team in a really iffy position if you were to initiate a dragon here. Yeah, and also like I wouldn't step over this either, because that's why I'd say is that you would recall straight away, because it's nice that the enemy team doesn't know where you are either. So you moved up here, but they don't know where you are, so then now they have to like maybe say, okay, Zyra might be roaming to here, so just be careful. So
yeah, no, she's just walking around this.
Yeah, you basically just gave them free information here that you're here, basically.
Oops.
So yeah, and also
It's Silver for sure. Oh
yeah.
no, my mistakes.
Yes. So yeah, and straight away as soon as you walked over that, Sin actually pinged that you were there. So he was just saying that Zyra's there. Actually, you might even be alerting that for them to do Drake as well.
Yeah, he cleaned my vision right after that. I felt super dumb after, like, my 75 gold just donated to the Zinzao who was just lurking.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I can see this play. I'm just wondering if you should just take the blast cone here with Shyvana. I guess
I wasn't sure if she was actually looking to hop or not, so I didn't. I'd rather she do it herself.
So at this point here, the first thing I'd be thinking of when Shyvana's looking for this play would be like, is this brush actually warded? Now these guys have not respected this at all, so they don't know she's in that brush. So my next thought would be here, even though you have fewer minions, it's still 3v2. I would look to potentially look for a flash engage here and engage with EW.
Yes.
Like that's what I'm kind of looking for here. Like maybe you would have to do it in a way like instantly. Like running up here is basically you saying, "Rah, I'm really strong." So
yeah,
you're scaring off the Senna. Whereas if you were actually standing like near where this flag is, Senna would be more open to come here. Maybe she'd even face check and put a ward in the brush there herself. So yeah,
it makes sense. Yeah.
So it is a little bit of a mental mind game. I think like the best way to kind of think about it is like herding. Like think of like a circle range of threat around where you are. Like the enemy is not gonna like walk into that circle like no matter what. So like she's never gonna walk like near you to put Shyvana in a good distance if you're standing here. Like that's never gonna happen. Whereas if you're standing near where the Jhin is, she's more open to potentially walk into the river area.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I never thought of it that way, but yes, you have that
Like
aura
here
around
as well,
yourself
you're
that they're
still
not gonna stab.
yeah, like the Ezreal's keen to push in here, so you do a nice route here, but it's still too far away really for the Shyvana to link up. Yeah, I'd say
I got rooted in the back.
you got a little bit too hot for that play.
I got too excited.
Yeah.
I blew it. I'm sorry, team.
Like even here, like in under normal circumstances, you would be respecting this caster wave. So like you just being aggressive into here, it just makes it really clear that there's something probably gonna go down. Like all the alarm bells would be ringing for me. Like if I saw enemy squishy support in this position here, like 2v1, yeah, it would be. Yeah, I think the root play there is nice overall. But yeah, unfortunately, nothing can come from that because, yeah, that's what we talked about. I still think here you can still kind of like, if you had refillable for it this moment in time, for example, this would be quite handy with the chunking down that's going on.
I was surprised that it actually hit me. I thought it was away.
No, Shyvana's caught up
And
with the
then
enemy
she hits me
jungler.
again. Yeah, we noticed that.
Okay, good dodge there. Ez just put himself in a bad position. If you die here, I'm gonna be sad. No. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what you did wrong then.
Oh god. Yes, please do.
Okay, so you are on really, really low health, but I mean, this is really risky anyway. I think you probably shouldn't put yourself in a position like this anyway. I know you like want to link up with the Ez, with the Jhin, sorry, to kill the Ez. But yeah, this is really, really, really risky. I like how you're keeping like max range on his spells with those. This is why you get to dodge this.
Yes.
That's a really good bait in the end. But here, like Ezra's now already put himself in a really, really bad position. All I would literally do in this position is just do like a QW or QE, like just a plant in this alcove, just so that Jhin has vision, and he can't. And then you want to walk away again, the same again as before, with max range. If Ezreal were to like flash in your face or whatever, you have your own flash to quickly get away. So yeah, I would literally just do EW over this wall, just so that you close the distance basically.
Which is silly because he was not escaping that
You
fight
could have
regardless.
flashed this as well.
True.
So yeah, a little bit of BM there coming from you.
True.
Ezreal does flash, we won't talk about that. But yeah. And then you would have been alive as well for this maybe. Maybe you could have been able to like peel off the Jhin a little bit here too. I mean, they're looking really juicy as well. Oh, and he force shot a different minion. So yeah, I think if you were hit alive here for this situation after that, like you probably could have killed them both.
Yeah, we could have killed them.
And maybe one or two, like maybe it would have been like a complete trade, or like only one of you would have died, but it would have been worth it still. Say like if you did kill them both, then you could easily push in this wave and reset the wave and then go back kind of thing. So yeah.
It was definitely too cocky of me to believe like you wouldn't have enough damage to finish it off.
I think coming back into lane here is fine. I would look to try and tank this a bit. Yeah, which you are doing, which is nice. What items did we buy here? We bought sock shoes and a refillable. Okay, good.
Yeah, I realized too late that I needed a refill.
Yeah. It's good that you did buy one though. You're like on the right lines kind of thing. So here you're just looking for QW again, QW harassment. And this is why, even if you go into an electrocute build, like even after we're done with all of this and you still prefer electrocute, try and always put at least 3 points in Q first and then switch over to E, rather than just full committing into the E. There's a couple of reasons for that. It's more DPS poke in the lane. But secondly, when you're playing against, playing with champions, like Jhin, you can basically queue the caster minions. And then what happens is, I don't know if you know about Jin's Q, is that every bounce, whenever it kills a target, it amplifies in damage.
Yes.
So if you were to queue the caster minions in a wave, and then Jin that would put the minions down to about half HP. Jin would then queue those caster minions, it would go doing, 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 and then the fourth bounce has to go somewhere. So if it's an enemy champion nearby, they're going to take the full like blunt of that.
Yes.
So it's like really nice setup.
Genius. I never thought of that. Thank you. It's like these things that make all the difference.
Do you know what the other champion is that you can utilize that with?
No.
Misfortune.
Not off the top of my head. Oh, really?
Yeah, so when her Q kills a minion, it crits. So yeah, it always crits if she gets a killing blow on the Q.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll be sure to pay more mind to that.
And both champions are really good with Zyra as well. Like just anyway, even like not even including that interaction. So yeah, here it's just about poke, double poke, v double poke is just... That's a good that's like a bad positional play there from Senna for sure. Like that wasn't even a max range E. Like she's just kind of like... You know, you got bush advantage here as well. Like, yeah, she's overstepping here for this soul, and she's actually moving into you. This is like a really good position for an E. So here, I want to see E, 2 Ws, so 2 seeds with 2 slowing plants here. Whack down the ulti, and then ignite if you had one. And then do your Q, and then just use your autos. Position after that, prioritize positioning, and then try and land autos where you can. So you do your E, you do 1 W. I don't know if you had... Okay, so I think you only had 1. Okay, good. I would have ulted there still anyway.
I was trying to save it, and I was trying to wait for the Jin to come back down. And then I misused my ult.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I would have just basically made sure that this Senna just died as quickly as possible. Like no funny business kind of thing, just E into ulti straight away. Also, if you ulted in the right place as well, it's likely that this Ez would get clipped by some of that damage anyway. Maybe. I don't like this positioning afterwards though, how you're basically like almost hugging the Ezreal. You're taking so much free damage here for honestly no particular reason. I'm not sure what you're going for here, because after you've used your E, it's going to be really difficult for you to keep him in place, and I think that's probably what you're trying to do with your ulti, is just try and keep him there. But you're not going to have any luck with that without any slowing plants. It's just not going to happen. So it would be just kill the center as quickly as possible, and then you're in a 2v1 situation, and from here on, it would probably be making sure that Ezreal doesn't get CS. You're looking at plates still at this time of the game. And just like wave management at that point, so shoving in the wave and stuff like that, or freezing if that's an option.
Yes, for sure.
So freezing isn't an option because you have a canyon minion right up here, so that's never going to freeze, so you need to shove in basically. But you don't want to be in a situation where like you want to be keeping the distance still, like we were looking at earlier when you did the, you know, keeping away from the Ezreal and not dying around this brush earlier. Do the same. Don't look, unless your E is like literally about to come off cooldown so that you can catch them off here. It's not worth you being in this melee range kind of situation.
True. I got greedy because I thought he was gonna do the teleport one into me.
Shift, right? Yeah.
And then it would be in this awkward position where my E was about to come up, and we would get him in the bush. But
here,
that was a lot
I can
of
see what you're trying to do, but you want to keep like max range here still as well.
True. Yeah. I end up paying a heavy price for that on HP.
Just check your E cooldown. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So yeah, your E is ready here at this point. Like Ez has literally nowhere to go anyway, so I'll just throw the root here max range, and then just back off again, just for some extra free damage. So yeah, that was a lot of extra damage taken. I think if Jin wanted this play, I think you need to assist him. Like max range kind of Q, just like show yourself so Ezreal doesn't get like too arrogant or whatever. And you want to help DPS this wave as quickly as possible. Doesn't matter if you take the occasional CS. Just try and Q the caster minions. Okay. Yeah, now you need
Yeah,
to
right
back
now
off.
exactly. I knew he was gonna do it, just didn't know where
Yeah.
he was gonna aim it at.
I think now you just need to back off. Don't let them interrupt your recall. Good. And then we get a amplifying tome, a control ward, and a mana crystal. Okay, that's good. Can you buy... No, you can. I was going to say, if you could buy 2 amplifying tomes instead, that would be better, but you can... The Jhin hasn't been able to recall. Okay, so we're in that situation again that we mentioned earlier, where you're now, like... You've gone back to recall, you've got 4 items, and their AD carry has, like... I know both AD carries are in a very similar situation, but you're, like, the strongest person here now. I believe your ulti's back up now as well. So you can definitely look for a play. Jhin has no ulti, and even if he did, he doesn't have the mana for that. He would need about 100 mana for that. But you can definitely look to be the aggressor here and try and punish a little bit. That's what I would be looking to do here. Just like free up some room for Jhin to continue to be able to CS and just make Ezreal's life a little bit more difficult. Yeah, and then those max range E's again. Just at this point in time, I guess because you don't have as many points in Q as you should have, you probably that's probably why you're also prioritizing on the E's a little bit there.
So 3 points in Q, and then I can max E. It gives me more poke, right?
3 points in Q at least if you do electrocute, yeah, at the start. Here as well, I know you don't have vision of the brush, but like as mentioned earlier, you don't want this Ezreal to recall. He really wants to go back and buy. So I would, even if you were scared about this brush, it would be a like a QW check here. You just check that brush, he's not in there. So he's probably like walked all the way back to base, or he might be doing a greedy recall. So I would just like QW here.
Alright,
In this brush here. If you find him, if you don't find him, whatever, but if you find him, it interrupts his recall. If you don't see him there, then you know he's probably like here or here.
I thought she was gonna cheese it, so I thought someone else was in that bush because I hadn't seen if the man with the sword, the big angry man, Xin Zhao.
I'm gonna say I don't like the sword. There's no like apart from like level 1 maybe in some cases where you're worried about the jungler invading you. I don't think you should ever have a defensive ward like this.
All right.
I would put at worst case there here if you wanted a defensive one, like a defensive normal ward. I would put like here in the worst case scenario, somewhere in the river. Ideally to maybe like leech over there. If you think there's a control in this brush already, you don't have brush priority over this, then I would just put a ward here just so that like means you can't see them come up here, but you might be able to get a little clip in here. But this ward isn't going to tell you much, honestly, especially when your blue buff isn't up, and yeah, it's not going to give you much information.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good tip. I'll write it down.
Okay, so you're just checking out the area, nothing too crazy. I think over this wall you could probably do something. Yeah, nice. I would whack down ulti straight away at that point. My Jhin manages to clean up anyway. I think I would do it still anyway. I wouldn't like take any risks on like kills trying to get away. That was a good pick with your root.
Yeah, I was concerned, like, it's a contradiction. Like, I don't want to use my ult willy-nilly, but I do it a lot. So, like, sometimes the logic works in my favor, sometimes it doesn't. So I thought, it's a waste. Just resend it, because I saw the Xin Zhao there. And I was like, wow, if he jumps on him.
I think no matter what, you just want to use it. If it's a kill that gets away, it's going to be not good. Basically, just full stop. So you just make sure you don't want every kill like it's worth like generally at least 450 gold. Your AD carry gets 300, you get 150 guaranteed. So I wouldn't like miss the opportunity for that. Okay, Ezra gets caught off him massively, and you have flash, and your Jhin has ulti, and you just use arcane shift. I'd be looking to maybe this is quite difficult for you to like catch up here. At this point here, you could just dump your ulti underneath the turret.
I actually thought he got it, which was really cocky of me to assume the Jhin would have gotten it. He needed the help. But it stemmed from the fact that I was cleaning the wards and I didn't expect them to actually fully engage on each other. And when I noticed that, I just was late for everything.
It's okay. So yeah, a bit of a desperate E route there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately you have everything on cooldown apart from ulti, and you don't have a W plant either. So this
Yeah,
is just really
so
awkward. So here at this point, I'd say your health is pretty high, and Jin is like the main thing here for Jin's perspective is he's really lacking vision.
Yep.
So let's just change it to
His perspective, yeah.
so Jin's perspective in this fight in terms of vision, and your perspective as well. So like he's really struggling to work out where the Ezreal is going to be positioned at this point. Like now he's now lost him. So now he pops his ulti, Ezreal comes back into range here. But like if you can just like step forward a little bit here and just even whack your ulti, it just limits the Ezreal's positioning movements because he's not going to stand in your ulti still.
Mm-hmm.
Ezreal ends up using heal. That's what I would do personally, at least anyway. I don't think he would have died in the end because of the heal, and Senna managed to get back into lane quick enough. But that's what I would have done at least anyway. I think here you can still look at the bully. Ezreal Qs are still going to do a lot of damage, so you do need to respect that still. So it'd be like max range still, max range Qs.
My greatest concern, I think, right now was the stun from Senna. If she landed that, he could arcane shift into it, and it would have been a big problem.
Mm-hmm. I'd say that you might want to tuck in a bit more of the minions rather than being so far out away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Because then at least when you can see like the Senna W animation coming out, you can like start moving into the minions. Whereas if you're that far out, then you're never going to have any cover there. So it's just, you know, if you dodge it. Because if you walk behind the minions, you're obviously never going to get hit by it. Okay, just wondering if you can do anything else here. Okay, so you still have ulti up at this point. You've got E. Mm-hmm. You've got 1W. Yeah, it's another one of those max range E's that you want to avoid doing, because now when you have an E opportunity, yeah, I mean, like that is optimistic.
Very optimistic, for
so
sure.
Yeah, so if they were like half a distance, then yeah, but this is...
Yes,
and now your E's on cooldown for the follow-up engage, so you basically miss out on a kill. Because now your E is still on cooldown, like you could have a really nice E ult combo over here.
Mm-hmm.
That would be devastating.
Yeah,
both of these would die, and then you would then get... There's about 15 seconds to go on this plate. You get one plate here for sure, but maybe a second one as well. So there's a lot of gold involved in this.
That's true.
I think even in this situation here, it'd be so tempting to ulti, honestly. But because of the Senna stealth, it's going to make that impossible now.
I just thought that we had no minions under the tower, so it would have been too cocky of us to just assume 3 squishies could tower dive. Yeah, and that's why I didn't as well.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to tower dive, but yeah, it's a nice route there, at least on the Senna. Yeah, the ult usage just, we need to get a little bit more value from that. I know, like from this instance over here back earlier where Senna got caught, and technically your ult would have been in theory wasted anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like that situation is better than like just placing down your ulti and kind of just expecting something to happen.
Yeah, that was a very silly ult.
But the only situation where you'd want to put down your ulti on the ground with, you know, it would be like panic ult. So if you suddenly saw their team coming through and you wanted to block off an area to escape, that would be like one of the only cases. Or if it's to try and snipe someone when they're killable with the ulti, those would be like literally the only 2 cases where
tossing out the ult like that would have
it's not worth it. It's such a long cooldown as well that it's not
true.
Like on someone like Lux, when you can poke with your ulti pretty much, because it's only on like a 1-minute cooldown, even at this stage of the game. But that's more fine than Zyra, because Zyra's ulti is on basically, it's on a 80 to 90 second cooldown at this point, and it just synergizes too much with your kit as well.
It's a very important thing. So yeah, it's like Sometimes I think about it, it's like, all right, no, I'm not going to use my ult. And then other times it's like my finger reaches for it on autopilot. Oops, ult in panic.
So like here, for example, you do another good route. Like this is the case of you doing a good route. Like Senna's obviously overextended, the range is good, you do 2 root plants as well. Like this is perfect. I mean, well, okay, it's not quite perfect because you miss it, but like it's there, that the play.
Plants are there, yes.
Yeah, so
They help the Jhin get closer.
One thing I would say though is go into a practice tour when you can and test it out. Like here, okay, so when you press your E, you can still reposition your cursor to put W's down, the seeds down. Like so, when you pop out your spell, like when you, I don't know if you use smart cast or not, but when you press,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I have to check.
if you click on the spell, you'll then see like the telegraph box. And there will be 2 boxes. There will be a box in the middle indicating where the route is going, and there will be an outer box around that route indicating where plants will actually spawn. So you don't have to, when you press your E here, you've also got like a slight, like about 1 second I'd say, to get the correct plant seeds down in time for when you at the start of the animation. So here I'm going to put it at 0.25. So I can see exactly where your cursor is, and it's like behind Senna. But because the route goes out to here, at the tip here, you could have actually got a seed much closer directly on top of her. So what I would like you to try and do is when you're doing your E, when you're putting down those slowing plants, try and put your cursor over the person and spawn plants like on top of them. So your E's gone out here. Even if you miss your route here, they're still getting slowed by 2 plants, basically, essentially. I think it's just 1 here. I think that was 1 that was spawned in the lane, maybe. I'll have to have a look at that.
I think 1 did, because there's 3 there. I think I only popped 2. I tend to pop 2 at a time, usually.
Oh yeah, so you popped 2. Yeah, so you managed to get... So you did reposition, like, 2 plants in 2 positions, but you didn't put them, like, on the target, essentially. So try, like, when you're making a route play like that with your seeds, try and get them as near the person as possible. Yeah, like almost like have your cursor like over them, or just like slightly behind them if you're able to, so that they're running into the slowing plants.
Yes, perfect.
Even though you get the kill here, it would have been a lot smoother, and that's good practice as well. So just practice doing that in the practice tool. Like just put down a dummy, and just like, you know, try on purposely like missing your E, but making sure that your plants are still spawning on top of the target.
Exactly. Make sure we optimize the damage, the slows, everything.
It means that it doesn't mean it's bad that you missed your E, but it means that you're getting still something from it.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Okay, so this rotation here to protect mid tower is fine.
We had to back up.
Yeah,
they were very aggro for us.
Yeah.
There's nothing we could do.
Yeah, you can't do anything there. I am looking for roaming opportunities for you from this game, but it's like really difficult for you.
Yeah.
What's your KD at the moment? 6 kills in Jhin, 2 on Zyra. So you guys are, I mean, you could have, from the things that we've identified already, you could have maybe been a bit further ahead in lane, but I think this game already is like a tool ask for you anyway. Okay. Yeah, you're screwed. You got no flash. The only thing you can do is, yeah, you do E and your plant slow. That's good. I would ult here. Okay, that doesn't look really delayed. Okay, that ended up somehow working out for you guys. Okay, so what I'll say here is that you should be dead here, right? This is like you are caught off, isolated by their jungle that is currently 4-2. You do a really nice route here. And Sowing Plant. Sowing Plant is nice, it can cut him off if he decides to come down. I would whack down ulti down here straight away.
Alright.
And then not only does it protect you, but it also protects Jhin if he keeps coming down here. I think the Xin, luckily, like for you guys, plays this absolutely terribly, and so does their bot lane, but I think like in future, if you find yourself in that situation, don't hesitate to use your ulti over a route.
Just pop it down.
Even if your route was on cooldown, like that would be an okay scenario, just to whack down your ulti, just to give not even just yourself but your AD carrier a chance to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
not too much you guys can do here. This dives a little bit
Yep.
in.
No, we didn't know what Shyvana was trying to do.
Yeah. This Jin's playing
I
really
mostly
well.
just didn't want them to come towards us. That's why I ulted on that moment. Because when I saw Shyvana jumps, like, oh no.
I mean, this Jin is smurfing. 100%.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
He's not silver.
No. He was apparently a jungle main, according to Professor, but he had an insane win rate.
Okay. So yeah, this Jin is definitely like a Platts plus person at least anyway. I kind of want to see you in a team fight. Like now, I think we've gone through a lot of the laning phase stuff.
I hear really in one of the worst deaths I've ever had. I thought Shyvana was coming after us, but Shyvana was not coming.
Okay, this is better.
And I misplayed that.
So this play in the mid here is good. Now you're doing your E and then your double so plant straight away. That's good. You're backing off for the Fizz. I mean, if you die here, Fizz should still die in theory.
In theory.
In theory?
In theory.
In theory.
There's a lot of dancing.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get much out of, left of this game now. I won't bother watching the rest. I know there's like we're only like halfway through it, but I've got a feeling it's just. I want you just to focus on optimizing the laning phase. I think.
Yeah, I took some good notes off here, like more auto hits.
So,
do not use my R to engage, save my E, things like that. Ignite, optimize the runes.
So what I like to say to people is that every game has a laning phase, but not every game has a late game. So if you can focus on making sure that your laning phase is consistent every single time, that's going to set you up for, you know, the mid game and then the late game. There's no point like me giving you too many instructions in terms of late game in particular, because late game doesn't always happen, and also it'd be information overload. So back to it's the laning phase points that you probably have already on your notes. Don't throw out max range E's. When a team fight does happen, which I have seen you do occasionally, which is good, is E and then the two W's, and then into ult as quickly as possible.
Yep.
So your task is, before you go into your next game, is to go into a practice tool and just mess around with both your E and your Q if you want to. Just getting the. You can on purposely like miss hitting the target, but making sure that your plants spawn on the target, because that's the most important thing. Like, you're not going to land every E, but your seeds, your plants should always be on the target, because it's too easy to land. Basically, it's just literally point and click.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I'm gonna do on the practice tool, is just the lining up of the W's with the target that I'm trying to hit. Because I feel like that's a massive missed opportunity.
Also, one thing I'd say is like, also experiment doing E and then delaying a little bit and seeing like where the cutoff period is for where your plants won't actually spawn from your spell.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to like E and then mash W twice, so really quickly.
Yeah.
Like, you actually have like a tiny bit of breathing room to kind of like quickly analyze which way they're going to be going and where where you can cut them off. So it's still probably like a 0.5 second window, but it's like, it's not, you don't actually have to mash. You'll be if you haven't tested it before, you'd probably be quite surprised how long the window actually is before that you have. Obviously you want to try and get the seeds done as quickly as possible, because like, you know, but like it helps the mental in terms of like when you're doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
I want you on an Arcane Comet build. I'm going to give you a build.
Awesome. That was what I was gonna ask Ness.
I want you off Electrocute. I think Electrocute overall has fine and has its places. It's okay against teams that will be coming into E range a lot, like Leona or
so hard engaged teams more.
Yeah,
melee range.
But I think Arcane Comet is just so consistent, like especially for like newer players or like the low ELO players. I don't think you need to have to focus on getting Electrocute procs out instantly, like and like working around the debuff of that. Because with Electrocute you would have to potentially like weave in auto attacks to ensure Electrocute procs, or making sure that your spell actually, like, you could do QWW. Basically, you need 3 different instances of damage to
Yeah, in
proc
3 seconds,
electrocute.
just yeah.
So you would like have to land the Q and then do 2 W hits in order for it to proc. And if you were to do like, I don't want you to be in the mindset of having to do 2 seeds as well. That's another thing. It's like,
Yeah.
to try only resort to 1 seed in terms of harassment, and then you have like with your Q, and then you have a seed for a slow if anything were to happen. So
I
always,
don't blow out all the resources right off in one engage that might not even work out.
and
It
then
leaves me on all cooldowns with nothing to
yeah,
do.
and that will also kind of teach you how to use your passive as well, because
Yes.
then you'll be finding that, okay, I'm not going to be relying so much on my W, but I'm going to be using the resources that are spawning for me for free on the lane anyway. And with that kind of like that herding mentality, like you can like kind of bait them into like face checking a brush where you actually have like a seed there and stuff like that.
Yes.
So and things like that.
I'm excited. Like, there's a lot of things here that, when spoken out loud, make all the perfect sense, and I'm hoping like I can hit the week running with the practice tool just to better the placement, and then try the new build and see how I can optimize the resources that I keep wasting.
One last thing now is, well, on a side note on the runes and stuff, is ignite instead of exhaust.
Yes, I wrote it down right
Yeah.
off the bat.
But also when you do land your E and your 2 slowing plants on someone particularly squishy, like, you know, the Senna or an AD carry, don't hesitate to ulti.
All right.
You should ult. You should be looking for those kills, because if you do get a kill, it will set you up for the next 30 seconds of being able to dominate, whether it's wave manipulation, looking for turret plates, being able to move around the map a little bit more, getting a better recall. So don't hesitate, because one time you miss out on a kill like that and they get to sustain off that, it's like a huge punishment just because you didn't want to use ulti.
True.
It's not worth the risk.
All right. That's good feedback. Yes, for sure.
So I want you to focus on those things. I know, like, from the overall perspective of the games, I can see that your top lane and maybe even your mid lane have had it really difficult. But there's plenty of stuff here that you can focus on to improve on yourself to get better at the game.
Yeah, like my objective overall is like, I'm doing mistakes. It's clear to see. And maybe my hope is that if I optimize these mistakes and I have better awareness and all of that, like maybe bottom lane gets a little bit more fed and we can, you know, save our teammates from further inting, or, you know, get into the game earlier to make the difference in team fights.
Yep, for sure. I mean, I think this game you probably missed out, just on mistakes, probably about 1,000 gold, I'd say, which is a lot.
It is a lot.
So yeah, you get missed out on, I think, 2 kills, which is 900 gold.
Yes.
And then probably a turret plate or 2, so around about 1,000 gold, I'll say. So but you know, I'm not expecting you to play perfectly. Everyone's going to make mistakes anyway, so don't feel too bad. But like, just focus on those things I mentioned.
Yeah, I got my homework set up for sure.
Yeah, you've got some tasks, and next time I'll look next week. If you end up doing it, well, it doesn't have to. You don't feel like you necessarily have to play Zyra. But I mean, I think you should probably, should do. You seem to be able to play her and Zyra as a decent champion at this ELO. So yeah, next time we do come across, I kind of want to see it in even with other champions as well, like throwing out your crowd control skill shot at like max range like that is going to be a no anyway, unless it's unless once again it's like a massive desperate attempt to help assist your jungler and there's literally no time to wait and you can't flash into them kind of thing. So yeah,
it's just the mental. Gotta just take a deep breath and like, it's fine. Just gotta think it through, and I'm sure I can do a little bit better. I will refrain or try to refrain from using Yuumi unless it's like really, really tasty, like an Olaf or something like that.
I'd say you could play. Only circumstance I want to see you playing Yuumi is if you have an Ezreal. I don't think it's worth it for you in any other situation.
Even with in the case of a Kog'Maw that is not a robot, or
yeah, even like Yuumi Kog'Maw is not fun.
All right, I'll do my best. Yeah. Do you recommend any other enchanter that I could possibly replace her with?
Did you mention you play Lux?
I used to play Lux, but I never found great success with her.
what other champions do you? I mean, what other?
I played Soraka. I played Lulu. Lulu, I struggle with the laning phase early. I might have to just join a few normals with her just to get the hang of it.
If you have a Cogmore, okay, put it this way: I would be very surprised in Silver if a Cogmore could play to the level he's meant to be playing Cogmore, unless it's literally a Smurf. So I would just say, just still think about yourself. Like if whatever you're comfortable with, try not to play for another person at this point in the game. I know that sounds a bit BM and stuff, but like a Cogmore, for example, is like literally, you rarely see it even high ELO. It's just one of those champions that is so high mechanically, you have to be perfect in positioning and stuff like that. And if you can't do like Lulu, even if you do Lulu Cogmore, this Cogmore is very unlikely to be playing Cogmore at such a level where he's going to even utilize you anyway.
Yeah.
So I would say just try and stick to enchanters that aren't fixated on just your AD carry. So like if you're playing like a Nami, for example, at least you can then interact with some other people on your team. If you're playing like a Yumi or a Lulu, you're kind of fixating on your AD carry a lot. I know later on with Yumi you can kind of ditch, but then it's kind of like you're still not, laning phase is just going to be extra difficult because Yumi still needs a decent AD carry for that laning phase to get you through. So you're still relying on your AD carry. But basically, I don't want you to have to rely so much on your AD carry. I think Soraka's a decent pick. You can still be aggressive with her in the laning phase for sure, and bully opponents. And then that mid game transition where you are kind of like just keeping people up and healing them through stuff. But that champion is better because you're able to heal different people and benefit them more. Whereas like Lulu, not everyone is going to be benefiting from that attack speed steroid and stuff like that. So
it makes perfect sense. Yeah,
like
I think it's
stuff like Sona.
influence,
Sona is fine at the CLO as well if you really want to play that. But
oh really?
I
would have never said that.
It'd be harder positional wise, but she has very like little mechanics too anyway, and as long as but
she's very forgiving overall. Yeah,
but overall,
if you're not that good mechanically.
Yeah. But I think you have some potential here to do decently with mechanic. Like I liked how when you were doing your Eves properly, they were connecting a lot. And I think if you just focus on that seed thing that I mentioned, you'll be fine.
Awesome. That's going to be my homework. I'm very excited. I'm going to try a few things. Right. Maybe get back on the banana once more and see how the Soraka does on this new season. I haven't tried her this year.
Context.
Guys. No, she spawns a massive banana on the Dawnbringer. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a build here for you, and I kind of want you. You can just use this for every game, pretty much.
Arcane into mana low.
Yeah, mana for band into transcend. I'll leave this up for you so you can just copy this. The only thing I'd say you might want to switch is if you notice that you're up against like a double cast, like an AP carry bot lane or something like that. Like if you notice, wait a minute, they haven't got an AD, they've got like probably an AP bot, like a Ziggs or a Heimerdinger or something like that. Then switch that armor rune to magic resist rune. That's all you need to do.
All right.
That's the only thing you need to be looking at in champion selection is do they have an AP carry bot lane? That's it.
Fence flex, awesome. This is perfect. I'm gonna test this out. I'm gonna make it my make it a rune page that I can just click into, and then make sure I have ignite when I'm using Zyra.
And the skill order, I would with this, it would definitely be 3 points in Q. I would go all the way to max in Q. But if you felt like for some reason you needed the root duration, then just put points in your E after you've done 3 in Q.
Awesome.
Because you're going to need, you'll find that quite a lot. Like for example with Soraka, I don't know if you know this already, but with Soraka you want to put 3 points in her Q to harass.
Exactly.
And then you're maxing the heal to be
exactly.
And then even after that you're putting points in science just to reduce the cooldown on that because you don't need the Q as much anyway. So
yeah, I guess I was a bit naive because I was so used to doing that in Soraka because obviously I learned playing Soraka, watching you play Soraka, that it felt odd when I did it with other champions. I always thought like you have to go ham, like, no, we're going to max this first. And then
there's a lot of cases like that as well. Like Sona, for example, likes 2 or 3 points in her Q before then she maxes her W. I'm sure there's like one or two others as well that I can't think of. Like Lulu example as well. Like Lulu 3 points in her E and then max the W.
Yep.
It's a very like, you know, it happens a lot in the support
It's
role.
those mental crutches, Biz, more than anything. You get used to seeing some things like that, and you're so concerned with like, oh, it has to be this way. Like the control board, oh, vision is key, that you're hindering yourself while you're thinking you're doing the right thing. And I have to break that to actually start thinking more than anything else. Like evaluate it on the moment instead of following, let's say, invisible tutorials on the moment.
And also, like, one other thing I want you to think about is items as well. Don't necessarily always go into Leandries. If you notice that there's 2 or 3 squishies on the enemy team, just go Ludens.
Right, for sure, for sure.
Especially with the Cosmic Insight as well. You got a little bit of item haste. So it actually makes the Ludens cooldown just 10% quicker as well.
It goes really well with the plants as well. I don't know why I'm so reluctant all the time to use Ludens. Just got so used to the Leandries.
I think Leandries overall is, if it's a safe pick, right? You can't really go wrong with Leandries. You're just not going to be getting as much damage as you could have, whereas if you had Ludens against a squishy target.
Yeah.
But like it's like, it's not the worst thing you could do. Luckily, luckily the buying Leandries every game is better than buying Ludens every game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because if they have tanks and you haven't got Leandries, then you messed up. So if you're ever not sure, just go Leandries. Okay.
Awesome. I'm very excited. I am ready to try these things out.
Awesome. I'll probably try and arrange a time with you sometime similar time next week. We'll catch up. I'll check on your progress. And where are we at the moment? We are...
What is it? 250 something?
Let's check. We are Silver 2 39 LP. So if you're not challenger by the end of the week, there will be penalties.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily going to see... I don't know. I'm not going to put too much pressure in saying, like, okay, I'm expecting you to be, like, Silver 1 next. But I do want to see some of those, you know, mistakes that are coming through, like are being, like, eliminated. I mean, we can always have an unlucky streak, unfortunately, which I'm... you know, but I want to see... Once you eliminate those mistakes, then we can then take it to the next level and talk about some more things, maybe get into some team fights and stuff. So
my hope is, even if I'm stuck at Silver 2 or go down to Silver 3, what I want you to see, hopefully, is that my gameplay improved. So even if I can't win the game for other aspects, I want you to look and see, all right, so she listened and she's doing better.
Yep, because
that's my goal.
Once I know that you can do those things that I've told you, then we can then take it up to the next level. Because right now we're basically on level 1. If I can see you can do level 1 comfortably and without me having to bring it up again, then we can then move on to level 2 and then level 3 and all the way up to level 99. There's a long way to go.
Awesome. Well, there's a lot of ranks, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I look forward to speaking to you next week, and yeah, I'll arrange a time with you. So take care.
Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this. I appreciate it.
That's right. All the best, and thank you for taking part.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Right, berries, hope you guys enjoyed that coaching session. This will be up onto YouTube, so this will be a regular mini-series. We've still got 3 other people to cover as well, which we'll be covering over the next couple of days. So yeah, that's your first person, Belle. We had a nice conversation with Belle at the start of the video. And if this is something that you are interested in, coaching series unfortunately doesn't generally do particularly too well on YouTube, but if this is something that you want to see more often, well, you're going to be getting it anyway, but if let me know if this is something that you want to see, or if there's something particularly different that you want me to change up as well. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And yeah, fingers crossed everyone that we're coaching here ends up into where they want to be at the end. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you are watching this on YouTube, then don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, don't forget to follow, and don't forget to stay very awesome.